This is take 3, by the way. Hello beautiful, my name is Mina. Welcome to my channel, Mina Reads. And today I am bringing you a book haul. So I have a bunch of books that I'm going to share with you guys because I have not done a book haul thus far in 2022. So these are all of the new books that I have accumulated the first 5 months of 2022 that I'd like to talk to you guys about. Alright, so first up we're going to talk about some books that I have thrifted recently. I love thrifting, love a good book deal, and the thrift store near me has lots of really good prices. You can get like 3 books for $2, and so I am in there way too frequently, and I'm always buying something. So I have a nice little stack of thrifted books to show you. Okay, so the first 2 thrifted books that I'm going to show you, I actually got in DC when I went to go visit my best friend Erin from Booked and Busy, and we went to this cute little used bookstore, and it's called Capitol Hill Books. And so I got these 2 books. So I got Song of Solomon by Toni Morrison. I'm absolutely in love with this cover. This is the first time that I've ever seen this particular edition of Song of Solomon, and it's just so gorgeous. And this is like the most embarrassing thing I'm going to ever admit as a reader, I think, and that is that I have never read a Toni Morrison novel, and I do want to rectify that hopefully this summer. So I might start with Song of Solomon. I also own a few of her other books, so I'll mention those as well at some point. But yeah, so I got this and I had to pick it up because it's just so beautiful. This is what it looks like, and it's just so stunning. I love it so much. Also at Capitol Hill Books, I scored this hardcover copy of An American Marriage by Tahiri Jones. This is a book about a man and a woman. They're married, and essentially this man, he goes to jail, and so this is a story about him going to jail. I think maybe some of the aspects of like his trial and him being away, and in him being away, the wife kind of seeks comfort and solace in their mutual friend, and there's kind of a romance brewing between them. I wouldn't call this book a romance, but it is an exploration of these kind of relationships and the dynamic between them, all 3 of them, and this really difficult decision that this woman has to make as her husband is incarcerated, and it's like, should she move on emotionally or should she not? That's basically the vibe that I get based on a lot of the reviews that I've seen and the synopsis and everything. And my mother also read this and she loved it, so I think it'll be amazing. So then some picks from my local thrift store. My local thrift store is amazing, and they have a deal on all their books where you can get like 3 books for $2. So I'm in there way too frequently and I'm always buying something. And so these are a few of the ones that I got. So I got The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. Again, I want to read more Toni Morrison, and so when I saw this, I just had to pick it up. This copy is a little bit beat up, but I don't care because I think I'm probably going to be annotating and writing in it a lot and stuff, so it doesn't matter if it looks pristine or not. I got this copy of Emma by Jane Austen, and I really like it. It is kind of like beat up and like a little bit discolored and stuff, but it's a very beautiful cover. And I absolutely love the Emma adaptation from 2020 that stars Anna Taylor-Joy. And yeah, I love that movie so much. I have rewatched it so many times, and so I definitely want to read the source material. I have read Pride and Prejudice, but that's the only Jane Austen book I've ever read, so like hopefully this will be just as amazing as the movie was, but who knows. Then I got The Book of Longings by Sue Monkid, and this is a historical fiction. I saw a review that called this Bible fan fiction, and I just thought that it was so funny, and that's essentially what it is. It's about Jesus, and particularly it's about Jesus's wife, who may or may not be fictional. I don't know. I'm not Christian, so I haven't really like studied the Bible. I don't know too much about Jesus and like biblical history and stuff, but this story is from the point of view of Jesus's wife, and I think that sounds so interesting. Hopefully it'll be good. I feel like it kind of had a little bit of buzz when it first came out, but I haven't heard much about it since, so hopefully it'll be good. I don't know, but yeah, also got this at my local thrift. I got The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo also from my local thrift because, you know, they had this 3 for $2 deal, and I felt like I couldn't leave the store without getting like a 3rd book, because it's like, why wouldn't I, you know, like why wouldn't I? It just makes sense. So I ended up picking this one up kind of just because I recognized the name, and I did watch the movie that starred like Rooney Mara and Daniel Craig like a million years ago. But here's the thing, I enjoy watching mysteries, but reading them is not my thing. So me picking this up was a very silly decision, but it's okay because I'm probably going to donate this to one of the little free libraries in my area. But like, I just figured I'd show it to you because it was on the stack. So then I got Interpreter of Maladies by Junpo Lahiri, and this is a short story collection. And I have heard a lot about this author. It's a very well-regarded South Asian author that I've never read from, and so when I saw this at the store, I just had to pick it up. Hopefully I'll read it soon, and also it's pretty short, so I feel like, you know, it would be nice to read something on the shorter side that's not just like a romance novella. So hopefully I'll be picking this one up soon as well. I got Black Girl Call Home by Jasmine Mans. This is a poetry collection. Recently, I've been going to a lot of local poetry readings with my friends, and like, you know, open mic nights and stuff like that, and it's been really fun. So it makes me want to get more into poetry, and I think that this will be like the first poetry collection I pick up. And yeah, I got this at the thrift store, and it's in really good condition. So yeah, and this has amazing reviews. Like on Goodreads, I believe it has like a 4.5 or 4.4 star rating, which is so incredibly high. So hopefully that means it's amazing and that I'm gonna love it as well. Then I got The Shadow of the Wind by Carlo Ruiz Zafón. This book has been talked about and hyped and praised from the moon and back on every bookish platform that I have ever been a part of. So I definitely am feeling a little bit of FOMO, and I think my best friend Erin, she also really loves this book, and when I saw this in the store, I sent her a picture and she was like, you absolutely have to pick it up. So I did. Then I got All About Love by Bell Hooks, and Bell Hooks is just really was a visionary writer and thinker, and so I have read some of her works. I've read excerpts from some of her essays and like talks and lectures and stuff, but I have never read one of her full books, and she has a number of them. So when I saw this at the thrift store, I had to pick it up. Also, I think this is maybe my favorite cover of this, because there is another edition and it's like red, and I mean the red one is pretty, but I like this one a lot, so I'm happy that I was able to find this edition. Final thrift store book we have It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, the book talk darling of the century. Everybody and their mother talks about this book on TikTok. I'm thinking that I'm going to try it at some point, maybe this summer. Let me know if you think I should read it. I mean, I know that it's probably going to be a downer. Everybody that I've seen read it, if they loved it, they cried about it. So is that necessarily giving like a hot girl summer fun vibe? No, but I still might read it. Who knows? You know, I love a good cathartic cry now and again. So maybe I'll read this soon. Who knows? Who knows? It doesn't matter if I read it soon or not. It doesn't matter. It's on the shelves now, right? That's the important part of a book haul. Next, another Toni Morrison. This one is A Mercy. This book I bought for one of my spring semester courses, and then we ended up not reading it. Like the teacher dropped it from the syllabus, so I haven't read it yet, but I own it now, and yeah, hopefully it'll be good. Okay, so in the spring, maybe that's a lie, in the winter, maybe around February, I think, I read Royal Assassin by Robin Hobb, and I really loved it, and it ended on a cliffhanger, and so I immediately went out and I bought Assassin's Quest, also by Robin Hobb. This is the third book in the Farseer trilogy, and I started reading it, and I am 70 pages into it, and I have been 70 pages into it for about 3 months. This is not to say that it's bad by any means. It's very good, it's incredible, but I don't know, I just kind of got away from it. I put it down for a while. I started reading some other stuff, and then I kind of got out of the fantasy mood. So hopefully I'll be, you know, diving back into this world at some point, but not yet. So I did pick this one up, and then my best friend Erin, who is an absolute Robin Hobb simp. I have mentioned Erin so many times in this video, but Erin, she is an absolute Robin Hobb simp. So when she saw me finishing up the Farseer trilogy, or supposedly, she was so kind as to buy me Ship of Magic, which is the first book in the Live Ship Traders series, which is like a spin-off in the same realm of the Elderling world as the Farseer trilogy. And yeah, so she got me this. This is a thick bitch. Look how many pages this is. This book is almost 900 pages long. She is a thick girly, and she intimidates me so much, but thank you, Erin, for buying it. I got volume 2 of Saga, which a very kind individual that I went on a date with bought for me because Saga is their favorite series. Yeah, so I got this. I've read Saga volume 1 maybe like 4 years ago, so I'd probably have to reread that one before reading this one, but I'm excited to read it, and like, thank you to them for their generosity. All right, y'all, so then we've got 2 books. I'm going to talk about them together because it is The Pariah and The Martyr, both by Anthony Ryan, and this is a newly released fantasy series. These were very kindly sent to me by Angela over at Orbit Books. Love you, Angela, you're amazing. And I'm excited to read these. These are the first 2 books in the Covenant of Steel series, and I want to say this is like a grimdark, like militaristic fantasy, but I may be a little fuzzy on the details. But yeah, I'm excited to check it out, and I've heard a lot of really good things about Anthony Ryan as a writer. I believe he used to be like maybe a self-published fantasy author, and he wrote, is it called Blood Song maybe? And I remember that Ellie from Elliot Brooks, she absolutely loved that book, and she recommended it in like every video that I watched from her in like 2017. So clearly he comes highly recommended. So I can't wait to give him a shot. I also have 2 other books that Orbit was kind enough to send me. I have For the Throne by Hannah Witten, which is the 2nd book in, I don't know if this series has an actual name, but the first book is called For the Wolf, and I do own that one. So yeah, now I own the 2nd one. This cover is really pretty. I like the colors. It's like red, gold, white, and black, and I don't know, they go together quite well, I think. And I've heard that this fantasy series has like some interesting romantic elements, which excites me because we know that I'm a romance girly. So I definitely need to pick this series up soon. I always say I love fantasy. Fantasy's my favorite genre, and then somehow there I am, never reading fantasy. So hopefully that'll change soon. But you can't teach an old dog new tricks, you know? So we'll see. Orbit also sent me Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater, and this is a historical fantasy, and it's kind of like a Regency fantasy, and I believe it involves like magic and elves, and it's kind of a novel of manners, which, if you know, is kind of like those Regency like stories, you know, very Jane Austen, very Bronte, like those kind of vibes and character dynamics and social relations and stuff. So I love that, and that's one of the reasons that I absolutely adored The Beautiful Ones by Sylvia Moreno Garcia last year. So I'm hoping that this is like a good sign for me loving this book. Then we have Looking by Katrina Jackson. This is a really brilliant short polyamorous romance novel. This married couple named Nadia and Darren, and they decide that they want a girlfriend, so they go on this dating app for poly people called Three-Way, I think. And yeah, they find this wonderful girl named Jordan, and this is a romance between all 3 of them and like their budding relationship, and it's very sexy. So yeah, I love this. It was so great. I had to get a physical copy, and so it's a signed copy. Like look, it's signed. Can you see it? Can you see it? Okay, yeah. So it's signed. I'm happy about it. I love it. My bisexual poly heart is just full of love and adoration for Katrina Jackson. So I'm happy about this purchase. Very happy. And yeah. Then I got Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. Yeah, so this purchase was entirely inspired by TikTok, which is really questionable. I feel like it's actually diabolical how convincing and compelling TikTok is, and how TikTok routinely gets me to spend money on something, but the likelihood of me actually enjoying the thing is like pretty slim. Like, just doesn't make sense. But I did buy this because of TikTok, and I am a friends to lovers girly, so fingers crossed that this is the serve that everybody says that it is. Then I did something that I said I would never do. I made a video about 2 years ago now, and it's called, what is it? It was the anti-TBR tag, and the anti-TBR tag was basically saying like, these are books that I'm never gonna read, like blah blah blah. And I was very passionate about how I was never gonna read these books. And then I was on Amazon one day. Amazon was having a sale on the box set, and guess what stupid bitch bought the box set? Me. But it was only $25. I feel like that's a good deal. I ended up getting the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson, the most hyped fantasy series of all time, the most hyped fantasy author of all time, it feels to me. And he's an icon and a legend. And I bought this, and I was really motivated to buy it when I saw the sale, because Brandon was doing this Kickstarter for a new fantasy series that he's planning to write, or like some future books that he wants to write, whatever. And he did this Kickstarter, and you know, he has his like goal of however much money he wants to make. And then he made like $1 million in like a day or something insane like that. And I was like, if the girls love this man so much that they're willing to pay him $1 million just by hearing that he's writing about something, not even that it's like actually out or anything like that, he must have magic fingers or something. So I need to see what the books are hitting on, and I bought this. Similarly, I was in this random I want to buy books mood. And so I bought this book, Isn't It Romantic by Lisa K. Adams, which is the 4th book in the Romance Book Club series. I really like this series, sort of, kind of. I really love the first book, Romance Book Club, and I really like this one, Isn't It Romantic? So I ended up buying a physical copy so that I can add it to my romance shelf up here, and I'm excited about it. I absolutely love Vlad. Vlad's the hero in this. He is my gigantic himbo husband, and you know, I'm a part of their relationship. They don't know it, but I am, and I love Vlad so much, so I had to own his book, so I bought it. Then I got These Violent Delights by Micah Nemever. This is another book that I have already read, and oh, I love this book so much. It's such a gorgeous, complex read, and I love it so much. So this is a dark academia novel about these two characters, Paul and Julian, who are in this incredibly toxic and codependent friendship slash romance, and they are very scary, very creepy, very unhinged people, and it was so amazing reading about specifically the character of Paul. I feel like Paul is one of the most unsettling characters I've ever read about in a story, and he lives in my head rent-free, and I definitely want to reread this book and like annotate it. So I ended up buying myself a physical copy, but I did wait to buy a physical copy because I wanted the paperback, and now the paperbacks are out, so I own it. Another TikTok inspired purchase, Alone with You in the Ether by Olivia Blake. I really like the Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake, and so when I saw another one of her books trending on TikTok, I was like, you know what, let me bite the bullet, let me buy it. Also, it was only $10, so yeah, I snagged it, and I believe this has recently been picked up by a publisher, so it's going to be republished traditionally through some publisher. I can't remember who it is, maybe Tor. So yeah, like, it's been picked up by a publisher, and I got in early enough to still get the self-published version, so exciting. I believe this is supposed to be a romance, or kind of, it's a love story, but I think a lot of people have been talking about it as like a really heartbreaking read, and I love heartbreak, and I love romance, and I love complex relationships, so I can't wait to read this one, and I'm praying that it's good. Okay, so then Harper Voyager was really kind, and they sent me The Blood Trials by N.E. Davenport, and I don't know too much about like the synopsis of this one, but it is a fantasy novel, and there's a black woman on the cover, so I was like, yeah, of course I will accept it. I absolutely want it. So yeah, I'm gonna read it. I think that this is adult fantasy. Initially, when I saw the cover circulating for it, I wrongfully assumed that it was YA, but it's adult fantasy, or like new adult fantasy, and I'm really excited about it, and I've heard some good stuff. I've heard that the protagonist is really badass, so I love everything that I'm hearing about it. But yeah, thank you to Harper Voyager for sending it. Another person to thank, we have Alana from The Awkward Book Nerd. She bought me a copy of Jade Legacy, the thrilling conclusion to my favorite fantasy trilogy of all time, Fondly, You Are a God Among Women. I love you so much. Green Moon Saga is just my life. I love it so much. So you're probably wondering, like, Mina, why didn't you already own a copy? And the thing is that I did. I pre-ordered a copy of Jade Legacy, and someone stole my package from my house. Like, they stole it from my porch. It's literally insane. I have evidence that like it did get delivered, and someone must have stole it. So a thief with good taste, I guess, but a thief nonetheless. So shout out to Alana for buying me a replacement copy. Like, I can't thank her enough for it. It was so kind of her. So yeah, and I'm adding it to my shelf. You actually can't really see it. Maybe you can, I don't know. I can't really tell with the viewfinder, but I'm gonna be adding it to my shelf over here, and I'm excited as fuck about it. So thank you, Alana. So then I bought Sweat and Soap Volume 11. This is the final volume in my favorite romance manga series ever. Not to say that I've read too much romance manga, but still, it's amazing. It is my favorite ever at this point, and I absolutely love this couple. They just mean the world to me, and in this volume, it's their wedding day, and they're getting married and stuff, and it's just like the cutest fucking thing that I've ever seen, and I love this series so much. So I'm happy I bought it. It's great. Woohoo! I definitely recommend it if you are a manga person, or if you want to get into manga and you want to read a manga romance about adults, because there's definitely not enough out there that have like English translations. So if you're looking for one, check this one out. All right, so we're down to the last few items. So I have an autobiography by Angela Davis. I read this in March. It was absolutely incredible, but hear me out, don't judge me too deeply. I did skim it. So I was in a like 7-week accelerated course. Most courses take place over 14 weeks, and this particular course was a 7-week course, so it was a really fast-paced working environment, and we had so many books to read. So there was a little bit of skimming involved in this, but this was still such an incredible read that I had to buy a copy so that I can reread it at some point and be able to really take my time and, you know, just kind of like really dig into what Angela had to say in her life story. And I definitely want to annotate it and do some more like research on a lot of the things that she talks about in this, because she mentions a lot of movement members and things like that and people that I'm unfamiliar with. So I definitely want to kind of read this, do some research and everything like that. So I wanted to own a physical copy so that I could take notes and stuff. Then finally we have these 3 books. Book of the Month was kind enough to send me some of their June picks. So they sent me The Stardust Thief, which is by Ashley Abdullah, and I've heard really good things about this from my best friend Mariam. So I can't wait to read this. And yeah, it's nice that they have hardcover copies, but I did not know that Book of the Month did series, and I'm pretty sure this is a fantasy series. Like, I don't think it's a standalone, so I was a little bit shocked to discover that they were doing this one for June. Then we have The Lifestyle by Taylor Hahn, and this is about a woman whose marriage is kind of falling apart, and so she decides that her and her husband should try swinging, and that sounds really interesting to me. And just based on the way that the synopsis sounds, it sounds like it's going to be messy drama, and I am a messy bitch, and I love drama, and I think it'll be a good time. I absolutely abhor the cover of this. I think it's just terrible. Like, I don't like, why does she look like that? Like, why did they do her liner that way? Because I feel like I've seen people in real life with liner that way and it looks hot, but like on her, no, like it's not giving. That's all I'll say. The synopsis sounds good, so we're not going to judge a book by its cover, and I'm definitely going to try it. And finally, we have Woman of Light. This book is about an indigenous Chicano family in the American West. I don't usually read too much historical fiction, but this cover is absolutely beautiful, and I've heard good things about this author. I believe they wrote a book called Sabrina and Karina, and that was getting a lot of hype on Bookstagram a few years ago, maybe a year or 2 ago. So yeah, I do remember hearing about this author and hearing really good things, so hopefully that means that this book is going to be good as well. So if you'd like to see more of my face and more of my content, please be sure to subscribe. It would be really cool if you could. Or you can follow me on my socials. I have TikTok, I have Twitter, I have Bookstagram. I'm on all the places, but no pressure. I love you all so much. Hopefully I will see you all in my next video. Bye you guys. Like, comment, and subscribe. And a special thank you to my wonderful patrons.